There are 500 jobs in America that carry a weight unlike any other. These individuals control trillions of dollars in assets, employ millions of workers, and make decisions that ripple through the global economy before most of the world has even had its first cup of coffee. We see the private jets, the magazine covers, and the headlines, but we rarely see the grind. This is the 16-hour sprint. This is the reality of a day in the life of a Fortune 500 CEO. The day doesn't begin with sunlight. It begins at 4:30 in the morning. To the outside observer, this looks like the cliché of hustle culture, a performance of productivity. But the reality is far more practical. The CEO doesn't wake up this early because they love the dark. They do it because these 90 minutes are the only time in the entire day that actually belongs to them. This is the calm before the emails explode, before the London markets open, and before the daily fires start burning. It is a time for physical and mental calibration. If they don't set their own frequency now, the world will forcefully calibrate it for them by 6 a.m. By 5 a.m., the workout is complete. This isn't vanity, it's survival. Corporate leadership at this level is an endurance sport, requiring the stamina of a professional athlete to withstand the mental fatigue that builds over 16 hours. By 5:45 a.m., the intake begins. 3 different tablets light up with 3 different news feeds: global markets, internal metrics, and competitor movements. The CEO isn't just reading news. They are synthesizing patterns, looking for the one signal in the noise that could threaten the quarter. Then comes the commute. Though in this tax bracket, the commute is simply a mobile office. The backseat of the car becomes the transition zone where the European business day ends and the American day begins. The chief of staff is already waiting. There is a brief 20-minute window to review overnight numbers from Asia Pacific. A supply chain bottleneck in Hamburg or a stalled union negotiation in Mumbai becomes the first crisis of the day. If it's not fixed by noon, quarterly targets are missed. The pressure is immediate and absolute. Upon arrival at headquarters, the atmosphere shifts physically. A CEO is a human weather system. If they walk through the lobby looking stressed, the entire building tightens up. If they walk in confident, the stock price feels safer. They have to wear a mask of absolute certainty. Even if they are worried about a port strike or a lawsuit, they cannot show it. They smile, they greet the security guard by name, and they project invincibility. It is a performance that must be maintained for 12 straight hours. At 8:30 a.m., the day enters the war room phase. This is usually the quarterly business review, where the polished exterior of the company meets cold, hard data. In these meetings, the CEO's role shifts to Chief Skeptical Officer. Every executive in the room wants to sell a rosy picture. They want their department to look successful. The CEO's job is to find the cracks in the argument before the market finds them in the earnings report. When a CFO points to a growth projection based on hope rather than data, the CEO must be the one to dismantle it. The morning block transforms into a gauntlet of back-to-back 30-minute slots. Legal review, product roadmap, HR dispute, investor relations prep. There is no transition time. The mental agility required to switch from a complex lawsuit to a creative marketing campaign in 60 seconds is perhaps the hardest skill to master. This leads to intense decision fatigue. By 11 a.m., a CEO has made more high-stakes choices than most people make in a month. They have to learn to trust their gut because they rarely have 100% of the information. Usually, they get 60% of the facts and have to bet the company's future on the gap. Noon brings lunch, but for a CEO, lunch is never just a meal. It is a strategic tool. Eating alone in the office is a wasted opportunity. Instead, they might head to the general cafeteria. It's optics, certainly, but it's also intelligence gathering. Culture doesn't happen in memos. It happens over salad. Sitting with junior engineers or sales representatives offers a glimpse into the company's soul that no spreadsheet can provide. Those 20 minutes of casual conversation often reveal more about the company's actual health than any formal report. By 1 p.m., the role shifts again to the public face. Whether it's a media interview or a keynote prep, the CEO must become a diplomat. If the company is launching a new automation initiative, the press will inevitably ask about job cuts. The CEO's job is to pivot the narrative to future-proofing and retraining. It is a delicate verbal dance. One wrong word, one slip of the tongue, and the stock could drop 2 points. They must be empathetic, robotic, and visionary all at the same time. The afternoon inevitably brings the unexpected. This is the firefighting portion of the day. A data breach rumor, a competitor merger, or a regulatory inquiry throws the calendar out the window. You plan for strategy, but you live for crisis. The legal team might say, wait, while the PR team says, go public now. Everyone looks to the CEO. This is the loneliest part of the job. The easy decisions are made 3 levels below. By the time something reaches the CEO's desk, it means there is no good answer. It is often a choice between bad and worse. As 5 p.m. approaches, the office begins to empty out. But for the CEO, the second shift is just beginning. This is the time for deep work, the strategy that got pushed aside by the fires of the day. The office is quiet. This is when they look at the 5-year horizon. If they focus only on next quarter, they have already failed. They must read trends that aren't even trends yet. Geopolitical shifts, climate regulations, changing demographics. They are trying to steer a battleship with a delay on the rudder. At 7:30 p.m., the ride home begins, but the laptop remains open. People talk about work-life balance, but at this level, that is a myth. There is only work-life integration. They might be FaceTiming their children to help with math homework while simultaneously approving a merger agreement on an iPad. They are never really off. They are simply stewarding the ship until the other side of the world wakes up to take the wheel. Dinner passes, the house goes quiet, but the mind is still racing. The responsibility is heavy. 5,000 families rely on the CEO making the right call. Pension funds rely on the dividend. The pressure is addictive, but it is also exhausting. Privacy, time, and mental space are the price of admission. At 10:30 p.m., the final email check occurs. The phone goes on the charger, but it never goes on silent. Why do they do it? It's rarely about the money anymore. After a certain point, the money doesn't change their life. It's about the impact, the ability to build something that outlasts them, to move the needle on a global scale. It is relentless, brutal, and lonely. But as the lights go out in the penthouse, the city below never sleeps. And in 6 hours, the sprint begins again.